Hey everybody, what's going on? My name's OP, Artist Relations Manager for Serato, and I'm here today to talk about the Pioneer DDJ-1000SRT controller. This works specifically with Serato DJ Pro. I'm gonna go over some of the features on the controller and how they work with the program for you to start DJing and get busy. Let's check this out. So this controller is really great, and people have been asking for this for a long time, and it's finally here. Part of the reason why people have been asking for it is because they want to have a controller that gives you the same experience as if you're playing in the club, but with something that's very portable and easy to move around. This controller basically mimics what you would see in a club with the 900 Nexus 2 or 2000 Nexus 2 CDJs. All that is built out right here in a small, nice size controller that doesn't weigh a lot, and you can move around with it very easily. Some of the features on it: 4 channels, just like you would see on the 900 Nexus 2 mixer, all set right here. Plus some of those other features that you would see on the mixer, such as the sound coloring effects, and also the beat effects right here. The same size platters that you would see on the 2000 Nexus 2 CDJs right here, with the jog adjustment here so you can adjust the tension on the platter. It's the exact same feel that you would see on a CDJ that you would have inside of a club. But it provides also the same features that Serato would use with other controllers. You have pad modes that are here, so for your hot cues, your rolls, slicers, and samplers, and other things that are associated to that as well. You also have 2 USBs on the back here. This is great because you can switch over between DJs having 2 computers attached via USB on the back. And then it gives you the incredible sound that comes out with the XLRs. You also have booth and master on the back as well. And because this has phono inputs on the back, you can connect regular turntables to this and play regular vinyl. Or you could use Serato control tone vinyl and then control Serato from the turntables directly from the controller here. So again, this is jam-packed with a bunch of stuff in it, and we'll go a little bit deeper into each of these parts here. So the first thing is this: channels 1 and 2, we have set up for USB-A here, right? And channels 1 and 2 here. Here at the bottom, I can select which channels I want the crossfaders to go to. So I have it set for A for the left side and B for the right side. If I wanted to go through and disable the crossfader, I could do that, and then I would just be using volume faders to control the audio. But here, I'm gonna have it set for A and for B. This crossfader here is the Magwell fader. This thing is super smooth and feels really great. This is the same crossfader that you're gonna have on the DJM-S9 mixer, the 2-channel battle mixer that Pioneer makes that's very, very popular amongst a lot of DJs and a lot of clubs. The exact same feel here. Now, one of the features with this crossfader is that if you want to adjust the cut-in for this crossfader, you'll actually go inside the computer and make that happen. So inside this setup, inside of Serato DJ Pro, you'll go to the mixer section. And in the mixer section, you'll see that there's a crossfader and a curve there, slow and fast. If you want it to where you have immediate cuts that come in, you can have it set to fast. And if you want that to then be a little more gradual, you can adjust the curve, and you can see the volume even went down there as well. And if I go to cut again, you can see that the cut is not as sharp as it was when it was on fast. So I'll go back and put that to fast. And again, you'll see that it does very well there, right? So again, this crossfader feels really great, and you can control it in terms of the way that the crossfader works directly inside of Serato DJ Pro. So again, 4 channels. So channels 1 and 2 are set for Serato. Channels 3 and 4 are also set for Serato. You can change the decks by choosing here where it says deck select. So right now I can choose between channels 1 and 3 for the left side, and then also decks 2 and 4 for the right side. So if I want to do 4-deck DJing, I can control all 4 decks by using 2 platters, just switching the decks right here for the deck select, which is really cool. On each of the channels, you have gain here at the top, you have EQs that are here, and you also have sound coloring effects. So let's walk through these really quickly. So gain here, I can adjust the gain going softer or louder. I can adjust the EQs for your lows, your mids, and your highs. And then I also have sound coloring effects for each of the channels. So here I have the filter turned on. It's on and it's flashing here. So I can do low pass and also high pass. There's dub echo, which also has a post fader effect, which is a really nice thing. Both going low pass and then high. And then I also have pitch and I also have white noise. So again, you can do a lot with each of the channels, both in terms of the gain, EQ, and then also the sound coloring effects as well. With the dub echo having that post fader effect, so you can actually pull down the fader and you'll have a little trail of the audio kind of tailing off on it. The post fader effect also works on the crossfader as well, which is a really nice feature added on for the controller. Okay, so we talked about the mixing section here. We also have a mic that's here. So we have two mics that are set on the back here. We have a combo jack of XLR and line, and then we also have a TRS line also for the second mic. And then there are EQs for both of those as well. So we have a talk and then a talk over, which will duck out some of the audio as you're starting to talk into the mic, which is a great feature to have here. So let's talk about the master section. So we have our master audio volume coming here, and we also have our boost level here. On the back of the controller, we have XLRs for the master, and we also have line for the booth, and I can adjust that volume here. Below that, we have the Q for the master. We also have Q for channels 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and then also for the sampler as well. Let's talk about the sampler. So the sampler section here is for the sampler that's inside of Serato DJ Pro. I'm going to open up the sampler by going to the air horn that's above the left deck inside the program. And here I have an air horn set to be able to trigger. On the controller, if I want to trigger that, I'll go over here to the pad modes here and press sampler, and I'll see that the first pad is lit up, which is going to trigger this air horn. So when I press this, it triggers the air horn. I can adjust the volume for it with the sample volume here. The sampler volume is mapped to the audio volume for the sampler inside Serato DJ Pro. So when I turn it here, it also turns inside the program, so you see that it's working. Again, you can cue this, so if you want to cue it before it goes out, you can listen to it in the cue in your headphones and then bring the volume up if you want to. Speaking about the headphones, we have the headphone section here. So we have cue and we have master on this side, and we have the level for the headphones here. And in the front of the controller, we have a 1/4 inch jack and also an 1/8 inch jack. So if you have two people that are playing, one person can be plugged in with a 1/4 inch jack for their headphones, the other person with the 1/8 inch jack for their headphones, and they can cue through the channels as they go along, which is really great. So let's talk about these platters. These platters are the exact same platters that you're going to see on the 900 Nexus 2 CDJs that you see in most clubs and on most stages around the world. The exact same feel, the exact same shape and size right here. Right, so again, you can see it works really well. And here we have the jog adjust. With the jog adjust, I can adjust if I want that platter to be super light when I cut. So this is really, really loose right here. And I can adjust the tension as I go along. So I can feel it getting tighter as I go to cut. I prefer to have it in the middle here, just enough tension for me to be able to do something without being too tight. But some people like it really heavy, or some people like it really light. You can adjust that yourself and figure out what works best for you. Inside the middle of the platter, you get information coming from the decks inside of Serato DJ Pro. So it gives you the BPM, and that BPM is adjusted. So if I change the BPM as I'm going along, either going slower or faster, you'll see that BPM change inside the platter. You also get that percentage of the BPM change as well. We also have the timing here. So you can see when the track is starting and then how much time is left over inside as well. You also see the mode that you're in on the platters. Right now I'm using the vinyl mode. This means that I can use the platter just like I would a turntable, so I can cut and scratch with it by moving forward and backward. Okay, if I want to change that, I can hold down the shift button and come up here to where it says slip, and underneath that it says vinyl. And when I press that, it changes the mode to now be CDJ mode. So now I don't have control over cutting and scratching. This is more to be able to slow down or speed up the record if I want to do that. I'm gonna go back to vinyl mode because I like to be able to cut. So shift and press slip, and that gets me back into vinyl mode. And I'm able to cut very easily. And one last thing with the platter. If I am in vinyl mode and I want to do some speeding up or slowing down, pushing or pulling, I can do that on the side here of the platter. So as it's playing, if I want to slow it down, I can kind of pull to the side here and it starts to slow down the track a little bit, or I can speed it up by using it to the side. And please note that when you're doing this, you don't want to touch the platter because the platter is touch sensitive. So it's going to stop it here if I try to slow it down or speed it up. Whereas here, I can slow it down or speed it up without having the music stop at all. Let's talk about the pad modes here. So we have our pads that are here, 8 pads that can do various things. Right now I'm in hot queue. In hot queue, I can have 8 pads that can be triggered with the track inside of Serato DJ Pro. Right now I have 2 of them. One that's here at the set in the beginning of the track, another one when the beat comes in. And I can set other ones by pressing the pads wherever I want to. And if I don't like those, then I can press Shift and press the pad that I don't like to delete it, and it's gone. I can go now to the second layer by holding down Shift and pressing Hot Cue. And this is going to be Cue Loop. And this is going to set a loop at the cue point that I have set. And this right here is setting a 2-beat loop for it to move. And if I want to change the size of that loop, I can use the parameter buttons here to change the size as it's going along. Inside the screen, it was set to 2. Now it's moving to 4 beats, 8 beats, 16, so on and so forth. Very easily. I'm going to go to the second pad mode here, which is roll. So when I press this, this will allow me to do a loop roll on the track. So here, if I use the parameter buttons, I can change the range of how I want it to roll. So I have it set here where it's a 30-second by pressing the first one, a 16th by pressing the second one, an 8th, and then a 4th. And I can change that range by using, again, the parameter buttons. Which is pretty cool. If I press on Shift, that will get me to save loops. Now, if I had some save loops on this track, I'll be able to trigger them from here by pressing Shift and roll. The next setting that I have on here is the slicer. The slicer is really cool. So I'm gonna press slicer here and let this start playing. And what I can do with the slicer is chop up the track as it's going along in time and beat. So easily I can do that as it's going along. If I hold down Shift and press Loop Slicer, it's gonna loop a 2-bar section of it, allowing me to do that same thing. So you can see I can play around with that there pretty easily. The last thing I'm going to go through is the sampler, which we talked about a little bit already, your air horn. But if I press this Shift and press this here for the sampler, it gets me into pitch play. Pitch play allows me to change the key of the track as it's going along. Pitch play works because this controller will allow you to use Serato DJ pitch and time, which will allow you to change the key of the track while keeping it in the same timing. So here I can change the key of it as it's playing along. And if I want to change the actual cue point of which that's affecting, I can hold down Shift and then press the cue point that I want to do it for. And then start playing with it from there as well. If I want to change the range and the octave for the pitch play, whether it be to be lower an octave or higher an octave, I can use the parameter buttons. And do that same thing as well. So again, the pad modes here are super, super key and allow you to do some really cool things. So if you have Serato DJ Pro and also the Pitch and Time DJ expansion pack, you can take advantage of that here on the controller. So instead of doing that, what I just did in pitch play there, you could do some of that here with the key changing going up and down, and also do key sync with the song that might be in a different key to have both of those songs sync up together. So just a quick example of that. If I hold down Shift and press key sync or key reset, this will pitch up or down the song while still keeping it in the same tempo. So very easily being able to change the key as you're going along. And again, key sync here, if you had another song that was playing that was in a different key, I could press key sync and this song would key sync to the song that's playing, or vice versa. If this song is playing and I wanted this song over here to key sync to this, I could easily press key sync and the two of them will lock in together and play in the same key, which is pretty cool. So this is a very important range kind of feature over here to be able to use. We also have the key lock that's here. The key lock will allow Pitch and Time DJ to work to where if you want to slow something up fast or slow, then it will keep it in the same key without it sounding distorted or having some artifacts to it. So with the key lock turned on, I'm gonna slow this down and still the same key, sounds good. I'll speed it up and the exact same thing. If I take the key lock off, you can hear that the actual key is changing as I'm slowing it down, or even speeding it up. It's starting to kind of get a little pitchy. So I prefer to have the key lock on. It keeps everything sounding really clean as I'm playing. If I hold down Shift and press the key lock, this will allow me to change the range of the tempo slider. So right now it's to plus 16, minus 16 because I just changed it with the press. I'll do that again to plus 50, minus 50. And with plus 50, minus 50, when the beat comes back in, I can get really, really drastic and make it really slow. And again, because Pitch and Time DJ's in here, you're not hearing any artifacts happening. You're hearing the time stretching happening, but you're not hearing any artifacts happening as it's slowing down. And if I speed it up, same thing, sounds really clean and smooth. So the tempo range is nice because if you need to make some mixes happen with songs that are a little bit too far in range from each other in terms of the BPMs, then you can have more range to move with your pitch adjust to make those things come together and they sound good. You can also do this by using sync. Sync is great. What sync is going to do is that it's going to sync the BPMs of two tracks together. So by pressing sync, if I had a song that was playing here, let's say at 120, and this is at 110, if I press the sync button, this will lock into the song here that's playing at 120, automatically taking this to be 120, and the both of them be synced together by BPM very easily. So I could press sync and it would turn sync on, and if I did not want it to be in sync, I would press this and turn it off, and it would be good to go. So let's take this a step further. Right next to the pad mode, above the Q button, is the beat jump section. And with beat jumps, what this will allow you to do is to jump forward or backwards in the track by time and to land easily and clean. So I'm gonna play this here. And I'm gonna ask you to jump a little forward by just pressing the Q button just to get it on time. And I wanna just keep on jumping forward in the track. So I'm gonna go here. So easily being able to jump forward in the track and then kind of jumping back and forward in time without losing a beat, doing that here. Now, this is great for a couple reasons. Sometimes you might be playing a track that's got really long section and parts to it, sometimes like house music, for example. And you want to kind of move forward in the track without having to press a cue button that might be placed later on in the track. You just want to kind of steadily kind of move it along as it's playing. Or sometimes you might need to beat jump back to a section that you were to repeat something that might work really good with the crowd, or for timing if you want to be able to bring another mix in on time and phrase. So you can beat jump backwards if you want to as well. So having this section here is really great. This section also is featured here under the roll. We didn't talk about this before, but just to highlight it really quickly, when you're in roll, here you also have your beat jumping functions, right? So here I can beat jump going forward or backwards in the track. And then these buttons here will allow me to adjust the size of the beat jump. If I want to jump, let's say 1 beat then I can adjust it to be at 1 beat. Inside the screen, you'll see that the beat jump is set for 1, and when you press it, it'll beat jump 1 beat forward. Maybe sometimes you want to beat jump as far as 32 beats or 8 bars, either forward or backwards. You could do that by pressing it here to jump forward or pressing it here to jump backwards. There's sometimes when I am DJing in a club and someone might be talking to me while I'm in the middle of a phrase mix that's happening, and I might miss the drop where the two things are supposed to be aligned in the mix together. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll let the chorus of the song that's playing kind of finish off because I didn't catch it at the beginning of where it should have dropped in, and then I'll press the beat jump when the 8 bar is over to bring it back to the beginning of the 8 bar of the chorus again to repeat, and I'll drop both of the songs at the same time so that way my phrase mix comes in well together. So this is a really cool feature to be able to have. Again, beat jumping here, but also the beat jump exists with the roll here inside of the pad mode section. So let's talk about the grid section here on the controller. So if you want to make some adjustments to your grid on the track that you're playing in case it's off, you can hold down the grid and then move the platter and the grid will move, and you can adjust it to where you want it to be very easily. Coming up here to the loop section, here you can make a 4-beat loop by pressing the loop button here and it will activate. So if the track is playing here, and I will make a beat loop, it makes it very quickly, and if I want to adjust it, I can use shift and then use the half or the ×2 here to adjust it to make it smaller or larger. And if I want to turn it off, just press it again and it's out. If I want to manually press in and out, I can do that by pressing in and pressing out here. And then again, pressing the 4-beat loop to deactivate it, and it's out. Moving over to this side, I can turn quantize on or off. So quantize will allow me to be able to use the cue points to trigger them on time and beat, based upon the quantize setting I have inside of Serato DJ Pro. Here, inside of the DJ preferences, I have the quantize value set to 1 beat. So when I press it's gonna land on the beat very clean. I oftentimes keep quantize off because I want to be a little more freehand with the way that I'm using my cue points, but if I want it to be right on time, I'll turn quantize on. And then slip mode here, when I have slip on, if I press the pads, it will jump back to where I press the pad, and when I let go, it's going to jump back forward to where it should be in the track. The same thing would be if I move the platter. It would jump back to where it should be in the track if I do some interesting platter movements as well. Next to slip is the loading section. So here I have the ability to scroll through my library, find a track that I like, and I can load it up. And if I want it to be on the other side as well, I can double click on the encoder and now it will be on both sides, left deck and also the right deck. I can also use the back button here to scroll through my crates for different things that I want. And again, choosing tracks very easily. Loading things in really easy. Holding down shift, I can change the view on the screen. So if I want it to be vertical or horizontal, extended, stacked, or seeing more of the library, I can do that very easily for the computer. And then also changing the area by holding down shift, which will allow me to see some more things here inside of the library as well. The last thing we're going to cover on this controller, which is really, really cool, is here for the beat effects. This again gets you back into the world of the 900 Nexus 2 mixer, which has incredible effects that can be used while you're doing a DJ performance in the club. So here we have the ability to be able to assign the beat effects to the sampler, the mic, channel 3, 1, 2, 4, and master. If you're just playing with channels 1 and 2, you'll keep it between 1 and 2 and be set and good to go. If you had a mic, you could have any of the beat effects that are happening here go through the mic section over here. Here for the sampler, the same thing. If I have a sample that's set and I trigger it, if I have the beat effect turned on, it will then trigger with the effect going through the beat effects. And then also for mastering, anything that's coming out the master channel will then have the beat effect happening here. There's some really, really cool effects that are here with the beat effects. We have low cut echo, echo, MT delay, spiral, reverb, trans, Enigma jet, flanger, phaser, pitch, slip roll, roll, Mobius, and then also another Mobius, right? So I'm gonna turn this level up and I'm going to turn this on. Little riser thing going on right there. And another one here as well by changing it. I'm gonna show you quickly how you use the low cut echo. I'm gonna make sure that the auto is set so that way it's reading the BPM coming directly from Serato DJ Pro for the track that's playing. So this is set to channel 1. It sees it at 120 beats per minute. I have my level set to about 12 o'clock. And when I press the on button, you can hear that the echo is taking place. And because this is post fader, I can do kind of a little fade away with the low cut echo there, which is a really clean effect that people use a lot of times in the club. So we covered a lot here with the Pioneer DJ 1000 SRT. This thing's incredible. Make sure you call your Sweetwater sales engineer to ask about pricing for this, or if you have any other questions about any other Serato product or Serato DJ Pro, get in contact with them. They'll give you all the details of what you need to know. My name's OP, Artist Relations Manager for Serato, and thank you, Sweetwater, for having me here. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.